Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. In this episode, we are going to talk about the Western Conference playoff races, and that starts right now on Pucking Around. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pucking Around. Thanks for joining us. We always appreciate that. We are, last week we talked about, although I wasn't there, we talked about the Eastern Conference
who's this we stuff?
Playoff races. So this week we're going to turn the other way and we're going to look at the Western Conference playoff races. We'll talk about the standings, how the divisions are, 1, 2, 3 in the division. That's my dog. She wants to get involved. We'll also look at the wild card races, and to do that, I got my co-hosts. So I'll go with on that side over there, right across, is Alex from the Flyer Up podcast, right here on Don't Puck with Media. I'd like to get my dog to shut up, but I can't do that right now. Down below,
Rick's dog, do you want to be part of the show? Wait, Cam's not here.
Her name's Raven.
It's pitch black outside. She thinks she sees something to bark at, so she's barking.
Listen, I used to have a Jack Russell Terrier, and I know what it's like to have a tiny dog that barks at everything.
Yeah.
Leafs, paper bags, acorns, beware.
Exactly.
You better be careful. Because my old dog would mess you up if you were around.
Jack Russell's great, though. They're great.
Oh, a fantastic.
Beautiful dog.
That reminds me, a quick funny story about this real quick. When we used to live at our old home, there was a neighbor of ours that would walk this dog probably not every day, but almost every day. And my dog, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, would jump on the couch, her hair would stand up, start barking like crazy. So one day, because we knew the neighbor pretty well, I opened the door just to see how she'd react. She ran after the dog. The dog went berserk and started barking it crazy at her. My dog, whose name was Roxy, got the fetal position, peed on the pavement, and took the walk of shame back to the house.
Oh no, mine's the opposite. Mine's she's a little dog. The bigger the dog, the more she goes after them.
My dog was the same. She went after him, but when the other dog rebelled, she pissed herself.
She doesn't care. Believe it or not,
little one.
Believe it or not, the other dogs, because she usually gets scared. The big dogs. She likes little dogs. She doesn't bother them. But the bigger, and if they're black especially, and she's black, she doesn't like other black dogs if they're big. Are you
saying your dog's racist?
No, she's black. She's not. But I'm serious. All the dogs she really hates, there's 4 of them, and they're all black dogs, and they're big. Not Rottweiler, pit bull types. I'm going to shut my mic. You guys talk. Introduce Eric. Eric below Alex, also from Flyer to Flyer. And below me is my co-host over at what's our pod? Hab Normals on Talking Habs. Matt Norton. You guys take over. I'm going to shut my dog up for a second.
So we got a good episode for you guys tonight. I also do want to mention a little thing that we're having with the show as well. As of this week, Eric will officially be a regular on the Pucking Around podcast group. So he is going to be part of the show. We haven't updated the intro yet, but he will be part of it. Probably by next week, we will have the updated intro. So from here on out, Eric is going to be officially part of the Pucking Around podcast group. Eric, do you have a few words?
Wait a second. There's more than that. Eric is officially part of the team.
Yes. That's what I would say.
It's a little bit more than that. And we all want to give Eric a round of applause for joining the team. And welcome aboard, dude.
Congratulations.
Speech.
No, look, I'm really excited. I'm really glad to be part of this thing, man. I really think that this thing can go somewhere, and I'm just glad to be part of it from the ground floor. And hopefully, man, we can turn this into something special. I feel it, man. It's gonna come for us, guys. Just
that's what she said last night.
Really happy.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Rick! You said that's what she said last night.
Sorry.
2 things can be true, Rick.
2 things can be true.
No, but like I was saying, man, I'm just really glad to be a part of just what a great bunch of guys. You guys are all great, man, and it's been a blast since
Thanks.
the beginning, and I'm just really feel privileged to be part of this thing.
And
Eric's a lot nicer than the other Canadian.
well, he no. Listen, I
I'm
was
just
about to
kidding.
say I'm really happy Eric has come aboard because he's another Canadian, so I'm not alone. I'm not the only Canadian on Don't Puck with Media. All right,
Not the only
Canada
Canadian and Montrealer either.
and fellow Montrealer.
But he's a Flyers fan, so we got him on the right side.
Although seriously though, I'm on one side of the island.
Yeah.
Eric's like on the other end.
On the other end of the island. So yeah, that's all right. We make it work.
Okay, covered. All right, so we're going to talk about the Western Conference playoff race. They're not as tight as in the East,
Nope.
but there is some stuff. There could be some movement, some changes of seating, I guess. So let's get into it. We're going to start with a look at. We'll put this up. So that's the Western Conference. You got the 3 seeded teams in each division on the left of that. So in the Central, it's Winnipeg, Dallas, and Colorado. But you can look at those numbers now. Winnipeg, I don't think anyone's touching that.
No, they got the 1 seed locked up. They're not
right. But Colorado and Dallas, it's 3 points. That's not a ton, and there's enough games. You might see them change place. Although I think everybody in the top 3 in the division, I don't think that changes necessarily.
I wouldn't
Minnesota. Minnesota. I should say that.
Too far back.
No, you're right. And when I was looking at it the first time, I did the same thing in my head, and you're right. Minnesota. Other than that, I don't know if anybody else can get in there. So in the Pacific, you got Vegas, you got LA, and you got Edmonton. Vegas with 92, LA and Edmonton both with 87. So there could be movement there for sure and change of position. And then if you look at the wild cards, you got Minnesota and St. Louis both in the wild card spot with 85 and 81 points. There's a little separation there with between the next teams of 4 points, and Vancouver it's 5 points. So it's a little tight for the teams chasing the wild card, but it's not as I don't think it's not as close as in the East.
So I think we should start this off at the Central because this probably has the most to talk about here. So Winnipeg is arguably the best team in the league right now. 100 points. This team, I predicted them to not even make the playoffs at the beginning of the year. That's probably the biggest whiff I personally had. This team looks like a well-oiled machine. The top 6 is great. Their D-core is elite. They have arguably the best goalie in hockey. I think we can all agree they're going to lock up with that 1 seed. But 2 through 4 could move around a little bit. I mean, you have Dallas at 92 points. They have 2 games in hand and a 3-point lead on Colorado. So I think there's a better chance that they hold on to the 2 seed. Not
true. I didn't look at games in hand.
They have 2 games in hand and a 3-point lead. So they could potentially get that to 7 if they win both of those. Not obviously definitely you got to win your games.
Yeah.
And then Minnesota is 4 points back in Colorado, and Minnesota does have a game in hand. So if they win that game, they're only 2 points back. So I definitely think there could be some fluctuation between 2 to 3 and maybe 3 to 4 as well. So the only thing I think that's set in stone there is Winnipeg. Let me ask you guys this. Are you guys believers in the Jets?
Not for me, not 100% because of last year where they totally shit the bed. And you got to wonder, is this a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs that come first round and they just can't, they choke, basically. That's what it is. So I don't know. And until they don't choke, I got to say there's question marks there, right?
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of building your team around your goalie. They're very dependent on Hellebuck. And after Scheifele, their center depth, again, I'm not thrilled with the center depth that they have after him. Obviously they were trying to go for somebody during the deadline, and look, the past couple of years, bringing in Stasny, bringing in Monahan, and all these guys, and it's just, I don't know, nothing's sticking with this team. And like you said, Alex, man, I'm really I expected them to be good, maybe wild card-ish, but I didn't expect it to be this good. And I don't know, I'm not gonna believe it until I see it in the playoffs. They're just, what was it, like 2018, I think, where they made the conference finals,
I
if I'm not
believe so. That was
mistaken, something like
2018.
that. It was a few. It was right before. It was
That was
before
when them
COVID.
in Vegas were in the conference. I was 2018.
Yeah, it would have to be
Right.
2018. Yeah, the Vegas run year, the expansion year. So yeah, but other than that, if it's either first or second round exits, and mostly first, and like last year they got an ass kicking by Colorado. Like, I'm sorry, like it wasn't even close, that series.
Yeah.
And I think I picked them in my pool to actually win that series because I wasn't a big believer in Colorado last year. But yeah, no, I don't know.
I look at them. Shifley's a bona fide 1C. I think we can all agree with that.
I
He's
hate
having
him.
another really good year for sure.
I hate him.
I think he's got close to 80 points. He's got about 35 goals right now. He's fantastic.
Yeah,
But
good.
Nemestikov, do you believe in him as a true 2C for the playoffs? Like, that was one of the things they were looking for. I don't know.
Maybe they're a regular, built for the regular season, not for the playoffs. This is kind of the question, right?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Eric. Nemestikov is on pace for like a little over 40 points this year. That doesn't scream a legit 2C to me.
No.
I think he's got like 11 or 12 goals right now, and he just isn't putting up a really productive season.
Your 2C needs to get 50 at least.
Yeah, minimum. That's a 2C season for me. I agree with that. But like, luckily for them, they're stacked. Their winger core is stacked.
Yeah.
Kyle Connor is excellent. Nikolai Ehlers, who is entering a UFA at the end of the year, he's having a great year. I think he's got about 60 points off the top of my head. Velarde's having a good year. And
he just got injured. Velarde's injured.
Yeah, he is banged up. That's true too. So hopefully for their sake, they get him back soon. Cole Peretti, he's a guy to watch too.
Peretti.
Perfect. You know I'm the king of botches.
Perfetti. Usually F's aren't silent.
Yeah. Cole Perfetti. He is a young player, up and coming, that is looking like he's going to be locked into this top six for a long time. That could make Ehlers expendable potentially. But yeah, I look at this Winnipeg team. The wingers are loaded. Their center is fantastic. I think they could have added one more legit D-man. But the real issue is, which Hellebuck are we going to see in the playoffs? Because Connor Hellebuck is, honestly, not only is he going to win the Vezina this year, you could make a case that he's a Hart finalist too. He's had that good of a year. I don't know if he wins it, but I think you could definitely make the case that he could be a Hart finalist with McKinnon and Draisaitl. But we need to see this guy perform on a consistent basis in the playoffs, because he was a fucking pumpkin last year against Colorado.
Oh, God. He was a sieve.
Putting it lightly.
Matt,
Nordy,
wake up.
I'm up.
Okay,
we'll ask him, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm with Rick. Like, I don't, until Winnipeg can, kind of like with Toronto, right? Until Winnipeg can kind of prove that, they're not just a regular season team. I don't. It's tough to say, but I mean, I think if any team in that division is going to make a run, it's Dallas.
Agreed.
But it remains to be seen. But again, Winnipeg they have to prove it.
Yeah. I don't think there's much debate there. Like, it really just comes in from the blue line out. Are they going to be able to make sure that Hellebuck plays up to his standards in the regular season and compared to the playoffs?
Are they right now sitting like the President's Trophy?
It's them or Washington.
Washington has 102 points.
So Washington's 2 points ahead of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, if they win the President's Trophy, like, it's like you're gonna get that jinx. This is a team that I think if they win like first overall in the league, they're gonna be a jinx team.
Yeah.
I'm just looking quick at some stats. Winnipeg is actually third in the league in goals for, or actually second. Sorry, second with 200.
They've been good offensively. They got five guys at like 60 points.
Right. Look at the guys they've got. That's not a surprise. But still, I mean, we've seen teams like whatever have great players and all that, and then shit the bed in the playoffs. Yeah. Some teams are not built for the playoffs. I dare say if you're light down the center, that's going to be tough in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
the
I
match
get
for a hole in a 2C is big for sure.
I get that the Wings are really good and they might make up for some of that for sure, but I don't know. I think at least the farther you get into the playoffs, you're gonna feel that down the middle.
Yeah, because even at that, like Nemesnikov is your 2, and then Lowry is your 3. Like that's
Nemesnikov
that's
just
rough.
doesn't feel like a legit 2C.
No, like he's not. But like look, I know they tried Perfetti there at the beginning of the season because he was drafted as a center, and he just I guess I don't know. I guess they prefer him on the wing, or he
I was
just
gonna say he's been
wasn't
sticking
cutting it.
more there for sure.
Maybe his defensive game wasn't cutting it or something. So, but no. Look, At the end of the day, they have a shot, but we'll see. Like at the end of the day, you know what it comes down. It depends who you catch, right? In the playoffs, like so.
True.
Well, season began today. They would have a first round matchup with the St. Louis Blues. So
the Blues are hot right now, though.
I was going to say, I will say, a certain head coach, Jim Montgomery, has gotten those boys playing well. I got to give it to him.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, good on Boston for firing.
Yeah, I mean, not a surprise. But it's not really a surprise because that was a question when he got fired. Like, was that the right move? Was it Montgomery?
Can we talk about how St. Louis fired their coach 20 games into his coaching career because Jim Montgomery became available? And they're like, oh, thanks for staying for a cup of coffee. You can screw now. We got a better coach available.
It's like that picture on the internet with all those memes, you know, the guy and his girlfriend, and he's looking back at the other, and that's what it's like, right?
Oh, I got the perfect meme for that. You ever see the Simpsons meme where fucking grandpa walks in, puts his jacket out,
and walks right back out?
That was St. Louis's coach.
Yeah, that's right. But listen, they made the right move.
Absolutely. They've been playing well. But the Central could have 5 teams make the playoffs. They really could.
Well, like in the East, Atlantic. If Montreal makes the playoff, if Montreal makes the playoffs, right, then they're going to be the crossover. So they're going to be playing in the Metropolitan, like they did in 2021.
The division you want to play in because I think
like they did in New
Jersey a week,
right? And they did that in 2021 and won the Metropolitan.
Mm-hmm.
So. You never know.
But let's stick with the Central Division. Dallas, Colorado. If that stays as a playoff series, that's going to be the best first-round series.
Yeah, that's disappointing, though. Don't you
sucks.
find?
Yeah, I was going to say, Rick,
that series like that
shouldn't be a first-round series.
You can't help it, but
this is why I scream for the NHL to go back to the fucking conference season.
Right, because that would solve
nonsense, man.
Yeah,
and
that would solve that. The only thing I don't like about the 1 and 8 is that the 8th place team is really under the gun. And I get the point that, you know, if you're going to be 8th, well, you know, it's a hard road to get there.
You got to the East Finals as an 8 seed.
I know it's been done.
So the Flyers got to the final as an 8 seed also in 2010.
No, I know it's been done. It's been done, and I shouldn't feel the way I do about it, but. Yeah, I hate that part, but it should go back to that because matchups like this in the first round just don't feel right.
Eric, we were a 7 seed, by the way. They were the 8.
Were we? I thought we were 8.
Yep.
No?
We got it on the last day of the playoffs in a shootout. We were the 7 seed. Montreal was the 8 seed, and then the 7-8 faced off in the conference finals. First time ever.
What was that? What year was that?
2010. That was when we reverse swept the Bruins. We beat you in 5, and then Chicago broke our hearts.
Fucking Chicago. Dynasty.
PTSD from that goal.
Flyers can't stop facing teams that are dynasty when we get to the finals.
There's trouble there in Chicago, sort of. But you know what I heard? Because Chicago's playing better since the trade of Seth Jones. They hated him. They hated him, the players, apparently. They did not like
the first overall
Seth
pick.
Jones.
That's a crazy thing.
No, but apparently, I heard this today on one of the shows I watch, a local one here. It's Marco D'Amico was the reporter. You know who Marco D'Amico is, right?
Yep.
Okay, so he's the guy telling this story. Apparently, that was a big problem in Chicago. He was not liked by the other guys there.
Yeah,
so
possible.
And Chicago has been 3-1 since they traded him.
To be fair, they played us one of the games, and we have 2 sieves in net.
Okay, but they still won. They're not much better. They're not much better. Anyways,
But-
okay. Who else?
Back
we
on
talking
point.
about? Who else? Let's put this up. What's the
That
next
Dallas
game?
Colorado series, if that
yeah,
ends
yeah,
up being
yeah.
the first round,
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we cover this series because that is going to be one of the best first round series in recent memory. That's
Yeah,
going to be
100%.
fantastic hockey.
Yeah, it should be a really good series. Like I said, too bad it's in the first, but
Those are 2 top 5 teams in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, obviously, look at their numbers.
Unfortunately, I think Miro Heiskanen won't be available for the first round. I think that's what I had heard. I don't know if
Might even
Yeah.
it up a little bit.
confirmed, but
Might
sorry?
even that
Yeah,
up.
he's got another month, at least a month to heal up.
Oh, so this could make that series a little bit more interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you never know. Although we don't seem too excited about it the way we're talking, what's going on?
I'm hyping it up. I'm trying to hype it up. I mean, with the Stars getting Rantanen, then you had Colorado just trade Rantanen and get Marty Necas, who looks like he's fit like a glove with Nathan McKinnon. Mind you, a fucking homeless guy could fit with Nathan McKinnon, how good he is. But
let me bring this up. Is anybody worried for Colorado? Like they've been a little bit, they've sort of been up and down, like the way we came back, the Habs came back to tie them in that game.
good. I hope they get knocked out in the first round. We have that first round pick.
Oh, okay. So there you go. But does that? What do you think? Think that's gonna? Is that something, or
I
is
wouldn't
that just
worry too
nothing?
much.
No, I wouldn't worry about it either. Because you could also make the same case with Dallas. Like the past month, they've been like they haven't been that big juggernaut that like we were like earlier in the season. And so if you could have like both teams like playing at like I don't know, like the same level, but I think you know what, come playoffs, like you know these guys, they're just gonna
They'll turn
ramp
it
it
on.
up like so hard.
But
So
Rick, I also think a lot of that comeback just had to do with the Habs. Like that third period, the whole team was playing balls to the walls, like to tie that game. To at least
Okay,
get it to
and
overtime, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh no, I do know what you mean. And as a matter of fact, if you go back to, I saw a stat today. If you go back, I'm not sure how far back. It's December 17th or some shit like that. Montreal's like top 10 team in the league based on their record and percent, all that. And they're so yeah. Montreal's not the team it was before, but Colorado is. I mean, they just got like they improved their team at the trade deadline, don't you think?
yeah,
And they look great. I mean, Colorado looked fucking great for about 10 minutes in the first period.
Well,
And then slowly you're looking at, hey, is Montreal playing better? And then in the second period, it was a little bit more noticeable. And then the third, we dominated them.
if you look at
Oh,
the
yeah.
big picture, I mean, so Colorado added Marty Necas. They added Charlie Coyle. Casey Middlestat's gone now. They brought Jack Johnson back, who's a big locker room guy. Obviously, he's nothing compared to what
Brock
he used
Nelson?
to be.
Brock Nelson?
I mean, I'm sorry, Jack Johnson, Ron Johnson, Eric Johnson,
Yeah, Eric Johnson and Brock Nelson they added too.
and Brock Nelson. Yes.
Yeah, so down the middle, they improved. Like I was really worried. Although I thought because Montreal and Colorado actually, the games are closer than you think. Even though they went out to that big lead, but I was worried because of the additions on the team there. But I'm just trying. I'm just trying to talk up my team. That's really it.
What'd you make of the Blues whenever Drouin touched the puck?
I didn't hear them.
Loud.
I didn't hear them, and I didn't hear anybody say anything to me. That's the first time hearing about it.
Oh yeah, when I was watching the game, they were loud every time he had the puck.
Really?
Yeah.
well, that's surprising.
I really didn't notice. I don't know what
they're
that's
doing it
about.
pretty good. Unless they were saying Drew, but I don't know.
That's probably what they were saying.
It's
'cause
probably that. I don't know. I just thought of it because I'm sitting there going, man, if they're booing this kid.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, what
I
do you
don't
do?
see why. That's the thing. There's nothing I heard. Like I don't see why they would have been booing him. So they were probably saying Drew because I believe that's what they did when he was here on a good night.
That's probably what it was.
So
I hope
yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah, I didn't
So,
hear anybody talking about it, so I'm gonna say that's what it was.
But anyway, back to the Central Division. Those two teams, those are two cup contenders right there. Like those are two teams. I'd probably pick both of them over Winnipeg if you asked me today. Whoever wins that series, I'd take over Winnipeg. The only way I wouldn't is if Winnipeg ended up winning this series in like 5, and those two went into a 7-game dogfight.
Right.
With loving shit out of each other.
But if Winnipeg struggles through their first round, I would say I'd be leery on Winnipeg.
Oh, no,
I
that's
went off topic
understandable.
there.
It's one of those teams you need to see it to believe it. They've done it in the regular season. You need to hit that extra gear in the playoffs. You got plenty of talent to do it.
But I agree with you. I like Dallas over Winnipeg if it comes to that.
I picked Dallas
Colorado,
though, at the beginning of the year.
Colorado,
my Dallas pick's looking real good right now.
But I got to say, listen, if Winnipeg looks okay and they get through the first round and everything's good that way, and it's Colorado, I don't know. I wouldn't be as confident if I'm a Colorado fan as if I'm a Dallas Star fan in that matchup.
I wonder if Winnipeg has PTSD from last year and they have a little bit of a mental block thinking, can we beat this team after what the hell they did to us last year and how they completely ragdolled us in the first round and
Those things come into play. Believe me, they
the
do
mental
come
game
into
does
play.
become a factor.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Especially in the playoffs. Because in 2021, nobody wanted us to take on Toronto. I did. And I said that factor is going to come into play where Toronto doesn't know if they can beat Montreal in the playoffs. And then once we went up
anyone in the playoffs, let's be fair here.
No, but once it was 3-1, then we won the next game. I was like, that their sticks are tight, and it is a thing.
Oh, I believe it. Let's move on to the Pacific Division. This one's a little tighter. So you look at this right now. Vegas has the lead, but it's not like a sure thing they win this division. They're at 92 points, 70 games played. Los Angeles is at 87 with 69 games played, so they got a game in hand. If they win that game, they're only 3 points back suddenly. Mind you, Vegas has got the tiebreak over both them and Edmonton.
Yeah, by far.
Speaking of Edmonton,
right?
What's up?
They have their regulation wins.
Yeah, regulation wins
big time. So the other two teams have to finish ahead of Vegas.
Correct.
In points.
Yes. And then Edmonton also at 87 points, 70 games played. So those three teams, they're locked in. Then we all know those three teams are definitely making the playoffs. The next closest team in the Pacific is Calgary at 77 points. They're not going to make up 10.
They're not. That's
exactly.
That's like impossible. But that's like virtually impossible to make 10 points up now.
At this stage, yeah.
Not happening. No.
Unless if one team completely collapses and turns into a PUD. But
no, they win no more games and the other team wins all their games, okay. But that's the only way.
Equivalent. Like a realistic scenario, say like Edmonton goes like 3-8-1 the rest of the way, and Calgary goes 8-3-1.
I'll tell you what, though, with Draisaitl and McDavid out right now, and it's at least a week, so we don't know how that could happen. It could happen.
I don't think Vegas. I will say this: I think the Kings end up getting home ice in that series. That series looks like it's pretty likely it's going to happen again. But what? The third year in a row, fourth year in a row?
Okay, so what happens?
Yeah, I think it'll be a
difference.
The difference would be the Kings have home ice.
But does LA win? That's the difference too, right?
Again, that's the mental game because Edmonton won both of the first two series.
Yeah.
So,
I actually think that LA has a good chance this year over Edmonton. I don't think Edmonton's not the same team from last year.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. I agree, and I'm hearing that, like in watching other things and reading, I'm hearing that's the opinion of a lot of people that they think LA will beat Edmonton this year.
Oh, look, like honestly, like what Edmonton did in the offseason was really puzzling to me. Like, really didn't make any sense whatsoever to me.
Jeff Skinner did not work out.
No, like, just the fact that you go and sign Skinner and Arvidsson before you even sign Broberg and Holloway, and you know
that's
you need the money to sign your two young players, and like Holloway was really good for them.
Holloway was
last year's playoffs.
Holloway was really good for them. Yeah, and Broberg wasn't that bad.
Holloway he's got like a point per game in the last like 40 games. He's playing fantastic there.
Yeah.
No, and that's why it didn't make, and they traded McLeod for Savoie. Okay, fine, like they got a decent prospect in return, but you lost a lot of speed with Holloway, with McLeod, and with Broberg. You lost a lot of speed, and then you bring in Arvidsson and Skinner and
just
put it down on the back end anyway. But like, I don't know, like it just the moves that they made this and look, it's not fitting. You see it like
It's not working now.
it's not working out. Like it's Draisaitl and McDavid's not having as good
Even
as
the
as he's
Nuge
had.
isn't playing the way he usually does.
So it's like I don't know. I honestly don't. I wouldn't be shocked if they're on the first round. I really wouldn't. And Skinner too. Like
Yeah.
they didn't even address their goaltending at
No.
any point.
LA
even the
has
backup
much
goalie.
better depth than Edmonton. I agree with that. But as you just mentioned, Eric, I agree 100% with that. Stuart Skinner is not catching the lightning in a bottle he had last year.
And how? Okay, so even if you keep Skinner, how did they not upgrade the backup?
Yeah.
They have who? Picard right now?
Yeah,
Callum
Pickard?
Cal
One
Pickard.
of 8
Former
goalies
Flyer
that we use.
Cal
Right,
Pickard. Part of
right,
the 8 goalie rotation of 2019. Never forget.
right. And they didn't upgrade that.
No.
And they didn't even really try. And I remember hearing from the GM something he said is that they didn't think there were any goalies better than Skinner. And so, so your backup goalie? No.
That Jake Allen guy has been pretty good in friggin' Jersey.
So they kind of, if you look at it, and it's Stan Bowman, right, is the GM there right now.
Yeah.
So like, it's not a total surprise, and maybe that's the problem with Edmonton. Get a good GM.
Yeah, because like Skinner's not a bad goalie, but I can almost compare him almost to like us with the Flyers, with like an Urson. Maybe like he's just best as a tandem goalie. Like he just can't carry a full load for like a whole season, and then
So
you
get
want
him
to
a
depend on this
partner.
guy in the playoffs. Like
Get him a partner then, right? But they didn't, and that's where I really didn't understand how they didn't upgrade the backup.
And you ripped their depth too. Like Edmonton doesn't have the depth that they had last year. You got rid of the youth and took in 2 older guys who Eric just mentioned are not fitting with this team. And what did they do in the deadline? They picked up Trent Frederick. That's about it. They didn't even address anything that they needed to in the deadline.
And then didn't he get hurt right away? He got hurt right away, or he came over.
He was hurt when he got traded. He was already on IR, I think.
Right. So I don't know.
What they've done is very baffling. That team just has the feel of a one and done. And look, that's another first round pick we have.
Yep.
Oh, is it?
That
really?
one's more likely. I feel better about than Colorado.
I didn't know you had that.
We have them and Colorado. Flyers are 3 firsts.
That's why I'm kind of happy Calgary's sort of dropping out, because we got there first. So get as low as you can.
Edmonton is getting Evander Kane back for the playoffs, so like maybe he'll give them that little added boost. But the way that LA is playing this year, if that is the matchup and LA has home ice advantage, I would definitely lean a little bit more towards LA than Edmonton this year.
I have done that the last 2 seasons, so maybe I'll get it right this year.
Yeah. Honestly, I look at that bottom 6, like Skinner, Matt Jones is just there. I made fun of this dude on the Bruins. He's not even really, I don't even think he's an NHL player. Connor Brown is your third line right winger. He's whatever. I mean, and even that decor. Wallman, I'll give them that. That was a good acquisition. They gave up a little bit of draft capital for him, but that was a good acquisition. And then you look, they're paying $9 million to their second pairing defenseman in Darnell Nurse. So, but their issues are depth in net. That's what it really comes down.
Oh yeah, and that is to me is you're right. And down the middle, and am I right down the middle with them, or we were talking about who they have down the middle? Their centers. No, they're okay with McDavid. And
Corey Perry is their second line left winger right now.
Well, and that is going to be a problem.
Corey Perry.
Come play. I love Corey Perry because he played here. I grew to love him being here. But man, that was like 4 years ago. He was old when he was here 4 years ago.
But he was here though too. I think he was still playing third and fourth line.
He was.
He wasn't in the top 6.
So Corey I don't know
Perry,
how.
23 points this year.
Yeah, I don't know how he's doing that. I gotta admit, like he's got to be close to 40 now. No, if he's not 40,
he's up there.
So,
I mean, he was right there with Getzlaff playing together forever in Anaheim. So.
Right, so that can't be great going into the playoffs. As much as I love the guy, cannot still have that like he had 4 years ago. Now at 40.
Well, if they get healthy enough, like a lot of these guys will eventually be placed back into where they're supposed to be there. But like we said, even at that, even once like Frederick is healthy and Kane and McDavid and Draisaitl, like yeah, it's great to have these guys, but like we said, like depth is what makes you win in the playoffs. Because once you get into the playoffs, a lot of times your first lines match, your second lines match in quality, and then it becomes basically your third and fourth lines that is where they become very important in the playoffs.
Very important. Yeah.
I'll
I think
say
a lot
this.
of people don't realize
And
that.
this is where I think Edmonton really suffers this year. So we'll see. Like if they could maybe turn it around and like catch lightning in a bottle, all of a sudden Jeff Skinner becomes a Jeff Skinner of like 3-4 years ago. And
Wow, it doesn't seem like it's working out.
Has
there
Jeff
with
Skinner
you.
ever played in a playoff game yet?
no,
Yeah, that's a
no.
good
There you go.
question,
That's
too.
another thing to point out.
Right. That's good.
Another thing to talk about that was so big for them last year that they're not getting big. I mean, this was obvious that this was going to happen, but Zach Hyman's regression, like he went over 50 goals last year. You knew he wasn't going to do that again. That was lightning in a bottle. But I mean, he's still on pace for 30, which is good. But that was something that was big for that team last year. He was their leading goal scorer, or I think it was him or Draisaitl. I remember for sure.
I think it was him, actually.
I thought it was. I think it was like 52 goals last year, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, mind you, 70% of them were 2 feet from the net. But that's besides the point. Like that was a big part of their offense last year. Now Zach Hyman had that regression. That's a 20-goal drop off, probably at least.
Yeah.
So you need to find that in your depth. And then, as Eric mentioned, losing Holloway was a big loss, especially. Like he had 2 RFAs walk. But Holloway was the big one. He is just succeeding so well in St. Louis. So
yeah. All right, who's next?
So
take a look at the wild card.
I mean, you want to go over the Kings in Vegas real quick?
Oh, it's true. We haven't really.
We just been making fun of Edmonton this whole time.
It's true. I realize that. All right. So so let's go on Kings. The Knights.
Why don't we talk about the Kings first, since they're going to be their likely matchup? Quentin Byfield has found his fucking game. He has been great this month. He looks like he's finally finding his game after having some struggles. I think he's got the most points in the month of March, if I remember correctly.
Could be. And he was what, second overall the year Lafreniere was drafted first, right?
Yes, Quentin. They need this dude to perform in the playoffs if they're going to go anywhere, for sure.
And so how old is he now? Is he about 25?
He's still very young.
He's only 22.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
That drop was what, like 3-4 years ago. So it's
I swear, I thought the kid was older than that.
Well, he's been in the league for a couple of years too. He came in the league.
I get it. But I just thought he was older than that.
No, I mean,
so Lafreniere is only 22.
I believe so. Something around that age.
Well, he's got to be the same age, no?
I mean, I assume he's in that age, yeah.
Unless like one had a birthday just recently or something.
Okay. I thought he was close to 25.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He came in the league at such a young age. He's one of those guys that kept getting brought up. Why is he producing? Why is he producing when people forget he's a young kid still? He's not like, you're not expecting a 22-year-old kid to freaking carry a franchise. He's a former, number 3 or 4 overall pick? So
wait, his draft year was 2020.
Yes. So when you do the math on that would mean he was drafted at 18 years old in 2020. That adds up to now.
So yeah, he could be 23 now.
Yeah, he's 22 right now. He's 23 in August.
Oh, okay.
I just looked that up.
I really thought it was the 2018 that they were drafted. That's why I'm like that.
But listen, he has found his game. And then you look at this Kings team, unlike Edmonton, they're doing it more by committee. They don't have a single guy at 60 points right now, but Adrian Kempe's been playing good hockey. Kopitar is, he ages like fine wine. Future Hall of Famer there, still playing excellent hockey too. Warren Vogel, former Oiler, might give a little insight on that team. He's playing well. Philip Deneau, you guys know him all too well in Montreal.
So who are their centers? Is Deneau second or third?
third.
I think he's third. Yeah.
Oh,
So
here I have
who-
him. Here I have him listed as third. You have Kopitar, Byfield, Dano.
Right,
And then-
Byfield is the center. Okay,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. I just want to.
Well, because they had
Yeah,
him
I mean
playing-
that's a
they had him
pretty
playing
good
wing at certain points, but
But that's pretty good down the middle. I mean, Dano is solid third line center.
Yeah, that they have depth. They have
Solid.
depth. That's the
Shut
big
down.
difference.
He's a shutdown guy. He can shut down McDavid. We know this because he did it here in Montreal when we played Edmonton.
that's why
So,
if you can get like
You know
Kopitar's
that
line on
helped
like
me too.
McDavid,
They don't have any injuries.
yeah, if you can have like let's say like a Kopitar line on McDavid or a Dano on Draisaitl, and then you have Byfield just going crazy on.
yeah, I would have to
no,
say,
like-
if I'm picking again this year, like when we do the brackets, if they're playing, I'm gonna take LA over them. Over
I
Edmonton,
probably
yeah.
will too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I hope both LA and Dallas win those series because give the Flyers better draft capital.
No,
Oh, man.
third time's the charm for me.
If somehow both Edmonton and Colorado get eliminated in the first round, and it is possible.
Well, sure.
Those are tough
man.
matchups for them.
But see, those are now. If a couple other teams get knocked out, the top teams, that's a year for a lesser team to win a cup. That's what happened to Montreal's last two cups. They weren't the best teams, but the best teams got knocked out, and they were able to get their way through.
I mean, you got a free pass in 2021 too. With that as
What do you
well.
mean
I mean, you beat
what
Vegas.
free
So I'll give you
pass?
that. But you were in the worst division in 2021.
But what free pass? We got to the playoffs and we got to the finals. That's not a free fucking pass.
No, I mean, it was the easiest road, I should say. Let me rephrase that. It was the easiest road.
I'll admit
already
they
did
backed
that.
in. I'll admit that they backed in to the playoffs because they weren't playing very well. They backed in, but that it's like our old GM
Beating
used to say,
Toronto does a lot.
just get there and anything can happen.
Beating Toronto does a lot for a team.
I swear, everybody in my chats leading up to that in the streams thought I was crazy saying I want Toronto. And I was
wanted
right.
Pittsburgh in 2018.
And I was
Actually,
right. I
no,
don't know
wanted
who
Washington, but Pittsburgh was my second choice.
I don't know who it was like we could have played, but I'm glad we got Toronto.
But I will say though that series though was as soon as John Tavares, I think what he got hurt like in game 2, I think it was. He got hurt early on in that he was out for the series.
Yeah, Corey. He decided to throw his head into Corey Perry's knee. Yeah, I remember that.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
After that Toronto was demoralized. Forget that was series over right there.
Not really. I mean, they beat us. That was game 2, right? So they beat us 2
Yeah, I
more games. So not really.
Wow.
They got demoralized when we won game 5. That's when it got into their heads. Oh my God, can we beat these guys?
Mhm.
And that's when you grip tightens on the stick.
Mhm.
I mean, that's saying, and that is true. And that's what I said is going to happen. And it's what happened. And I was really happy about that, obviously.
Back to the Kings for a second. I think one thing that hasn't been talked about enough is how good of a year Darcy Kemper is having. He has been fantastic for that team. You know, this has been a year that we've mentioned on the pod that goals are up and goaltending as a whole is down. Darcy Kemper is not one of those goalies. He's up. He's at, I think, like a 915 save percentage, maybe even a little higher than that. off the top
Good
of my
number.
head.
I
He's
thought that
been
was.
great.
I thought that was a good trade for them to get Kemper. I mean, it was good for both players actually, because you look at PLD, his numbers are like I looked.
That was
at
a
them today.
win-win for both teams.
Ran,
I agree
wow.
with that.
So PLD just had to find a team he liked,
Yeah, I guess so.
right?
also,
I
like, I
mean,
have to say,
look at
though,
the numbers. He's putting up good numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It
But even
shocked
just, like,
me when I
goalies-
saw it today. So yeah,
Even just goalies in LA the last couple of years, it's like I think it's just the system that they play. Because even Cam Talbot was it last year, the year before, had like a career year playing in LA. And
yeah, it must be their system. Must
I
be
think it's just
very
their
good for
system is very good on goalies.
Speaking of Kemper now, anybody see the almost goalie fight last night?
That would have been
I
fun.
heard
Refs,
about
you
it.
fucked us.
Everybody's mad at the refs for stopping that.
But why are you stopping?
Why?
You know, it's funny too. We shit on the NHL for how bad that they market their product, and this is a golden opportunity to get put in the limelight for having an abnormality of something like that. I know. It's acting barbaric, but who gives a fuck? How often do goalie fights happen? They're about as rare as a goalie goal.
Yeah, they're rare.
Let them happen. Let them scrap. Who cares? The Bruins fucking suck. And the Kings have a reason to throw hands because of the shit that happened in that game. So let them fight.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it till today, but yeah, it's really stupid for them to have gone in like that. If it was two skaters, they wouldn't have stopped it.
They would have threw hands.
Yeah. So I don't get why. I guess because, you know, goalies. I don't know why. Now, if you're LA, would you really want Kemper to fight? What if he breaks a hand or something?
Probably not. No.
Right. So maybe the coach said, "Go stop that."
The coach just called him. No, you stop this now.
Now.
Get it there now. Yeah, because if Kemper busts, like you said, Rick, if Kemper like breaks his hand or something.
Oh shit.
Yeah, then it's like,
to the playoff with David Rittich? No.
Yeah. See, so maybe that's why they did it. So in the end, maybe they are actually we're looking out for that.
Happy the refs got involved, but the fans aren't.
No fans are happy.
Okay. How about Vegas? Let's talk about them for a little bit.
Is this one of the first? Is this the first year they didn't do the LTIR thing?
Oh, now that Thomas Hurdle's hurt, they're probably going to be doing that now.
Why?
Okay, but with 12 games,
now, though.
No, but with 12 games, it's probably legit. He got hurt. He's not coming back for the playoffs.
They didn't manipulate it for trades, obviously. Yeah, but they're probably going to use him now. Is just what I'm saying with the Hurdle. Yeah. And that looks pretty significant. That sucks for them.
Yeah, so it's not one of those things, but it's the first year in a few that that Mark Stone didn't get hurt and come back for the playoffs, right?
Okay, Mark, come here. It's our yearly bash your kneecap in.
Wasn't it kidney or something? His kidney stone or kidney something shit like that.
Wasn't his back? No?
Something in the back anyway. I thought. Anyway, it didn't happen.
I look at this Vegas team. How many guys on this team did they actually draft? Not many. It's crazy looking at it. Noah Hannafin, Alex Pietrangelo, Brady McNabb.
How long are they in the league now?
They came in 2018.
So it's 7 years. Yeah, you know what?
They didn't draft.
It's not. I mean, 7 years. It's not that weird that they don't have that many.
Their entire top six, they did not draft. Entire top six. Their top pairing decor, they didn't draft. McNabb, I know they didn't draft.
So it's a good thing that they can sign these players because they obviously don't draft well, and they don't trade well.
The OG team is William Karlsson.
They don't trade well. They don't trade that well either. So they have to sign 8 because we got Nick Suzuki from them as a throw-in.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna keep Cody. Hey, take Nick Suzuki.
Yeah,
what a mistake, man! What a mistake that was.
Huge.
But I don't know if I agree that they don't trade well because they do have a lot of goods here that they acquired via trade that have worked out.
It's true. No, you're right.
Thomas
you're right.
Hurdle, Noah Hannafin, Alex Pietrangelo.
No, you're right. I just had to throw that in. No,
I get the bar. It's deserved because Suzuki's a 1C, so I understand that. But
Yep.
I listen. I agreed with you last year on that he was a 1C, so you can't give me crap.
No, I'm not even talking about it. I don't think.
I know.
If you're in doubt,
yep. Oh, I know.
But listen, if you're in doubt at this point right now whether he's a 1C or not,
he's a 1C.
I think you better think about
he's a top 15
how much
center.
hockey you know.
He's a top 15 center. I think that's
he's top. He was just the other. He was top 8 in points.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against
That's
the
a
argument.
top 10 center.
I can agree with that he's almost top 10.
Yeah, he was a top 8 in points. Doesn't that make him a top 10?
When I say top 10, I'm taking like the big picture overall. Like maybe next year he's definitively top 10.
No, you're right.
I think he's borderline top 10 right now.
But it's no longer a question of whether he's number.
But anyway, you look at this Vegas team. Their top 6 is solid. Jack Eichel is having a sensational year. Mark Stone, surprisingly, for once, is not hurt. Brandon Saad, since coming to Vegas from waivers, looks like he's found the fountain of youth. The top pairing is really good as usual with Pietrangelo and Hannafin.
Yeah.
And then they just signed Aiden Hill to extension too. And they don't even have Shea Theodore right now. He's been hurt.
Is he coming back or is he not coming back?
I'm not sure.
Because I think was season ending, but I'm not sure of that either.
No, I think he is supposed to come back for the playoffs, but I don't know if like at the beginning or we're talking about like maybe after the first round. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's a big loss if they can't get him for the playoffs.
Jack Eichel is turning into the two-way playmaker we always expected him to be. Buffalo, you fucked up again.
I know, like we talk about like players that they drafted. Well, you know what? They have this kid Dorofeyev, 30 goals on the season so far. You know.
Yeah, I just picked him up. I think I just picked him up.
3rd round pick, so at least they got one right.
I got that one. I'll give you that one for sure.
But also, they're 7 years in, so they should start developing guys into the league more and more. I would think.
The team's so damn good. Honestly, if I had to make a second pick at who's going to win the cup, not named Dallas, it would probably be Vegas. I think
really?
Vegas
No, I don't think I would.
No, look, Vegas.
That would be my second pick, but
no.
I think, like I said, I think it all depends on the health of Hertl and Shea Theodore.
If Hertl comes back, that is big.
Yeah.
He's at 2C, so they definitely need him.
He was on fire. He was on fire right before he got hurt.
And you lose a 2C before the playoffs. That's
I think he's their leading goal scorer.
That's big, though.
He's been fantastic.
So that has to be factored in whether Hertl's coming back or not, because I don't
think he's back for the start. I'll say that. I don't think
that's pretty huge. So, and they can't go make a trade because it's too late. Can't pick up a guy to be in the playoffs. So,
no, I mean that's a fair argument. Now they may have a hole in their 2C position for sure. But I mean, William Karlsson's no slouch. He might be one of the best. That might be the best 3C in hockey if you're being honest with yourself.
No, true. And so he still has to step up. But you're right. At least they have an option there.
Yeah.
So you're right.
And Hertl's 3rd on the team in scoring, behind Eichel and Stone.
He leads the team in goals scored, I believe, though.
Yeah, he's first. Dorofeyev has 30. Hertl has 31.
So barely first.
Yeah.
But still, they got some good goal producers.
He will not be first for long, though, with this injury. But still, 31 goals this year. Now that I looked at it, he's having a good year.
Yeah.
And then Aiden Hill, he has shown that he can be a legit goalie in the playoffs. And Rick, yeah, I know you know this next goalie all too well. Ilya Samsonov is their backup. So,
yeah, I mean, but okay, and look at his numbers; they're not bad. But I mean, you got to think he's benefiting from a really solid team in front of him.
Really solid.
He did not have in Toronto.
True.
So yeah.
All right, let's move to the wild card. This is where the clusterfuck is. So Minnesota should make playoffs. Yeah. They got an 8-point edge. They would have to probably go like 3-9 the rest of the way for me to look at them to not make it or
Minnesota's
or something like that.
Yeah, Minnesota's safe.
They got tiebreakers of all these teams. I think they'll be just fine. But St. Louis, they have gotten hot out of nowhere, man. This team looks like they're really good. And listen, this is one of the teams I said that should go in a rebuild at the beginning of the year. And, that coaching change has done them wonders. I said early in the year, I thought they would be a team that would be the fire sale team of this year. Last year, it was Calgary. I thought St. Louis would be it. And they said, nah, Alex, fuck you. You're dumb.
Listen, they might have been. Montgomery must have something to do with.
For sure,
right? So they might have been that team. You never know, but they aren't that now, and we're playing them. Habs are playing them on Tuesday, so I'm hoping. They're kind of due for a loss. They're playing really well, but I'm hoping that's the case. But yeah, and if you look, they were a point behind Calgary like last week or something. maybe the week before, but not that long ago. And now they've picked up. There's some space there.
Yeah, it's you got to give him credit. I think Jim Montgomery has done wonders with that team, as we just mentioned. Like it's a team that it kind of has the vibe of the team that they had in 2019. Not saying they'll be as good, but they play from the blue line out, I guess is what I'm saying. Like they have a decent defense. Cam Fowler's kind of on the fight. It's an old defense for sure. That it might be one of the oldest decors in hockey. Right. But Robert Thomas is still really good. Jordan Kyrou is one of the better wingers in the game. Braden Shen, who almost got traded. Dylan Holloway has been playing like a second line winger, and Dvorsky has just been called up too.
Yeah.
So,
and then you got Binnington there, who I don't like, but you got to think Binnington might be riding on a high from the Four Nations, especially going into a big tournament, which is what the playoffs are, and the lead up. You got to think that's probably going to benefit him. He already has a cup. He knows what it takes, and he's riding on a high with that win with the Four Nations.
You think the loss of Parayko is going to beat them up eventually?
I think their defense is probably the biggest weakness on this team.
Yeah,
because like you said, they're a little bit old, and they're a little small. Also, like Fowler's not the biggest guy, Falk's not the biggest guy. So you lose Parayko, you lose some size back there, and like you need size on the back end, especially in the playoffs. And
yeah, that's a good point.
Because look,
they need
when
him
they won their
soon.
cup, man.
He just recently got hurt, didn't he?
Who's this? Parayko?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was hurt. So
I don't know. It was, I think, a couple weeks ago. Could it be? Am I mistaken?
Yeah.
Something like that. But we'll see. Look, like I like some of their forwards. I think this could be like a really good scrappy team. It seems like they seem like one of those teams that could pull like an upset in the first round, but then just get demolished in the second.
Yeah.
So
could be.
We'll see. We'll see what they do. But yeah, look, St. Louis, man, they're really turning that team around a little bit, like bit by bit. Like they're just one of those teams that just never rebuilds. They just like keep on retool on the fly, and
yeah.
And they got a couple good, like, look, Dvorsky now, he just came up, like he's a decent prospect. They have like Otto Stenberg or something like that. I forget his name exactly, but something like that. Like another decent prospect, Jimmy Snuggerud in NCAA. Like they got some good kids coming, so this team could really turn around the next couple of years.
Nordy, what do you think about the Blues right now?
I mean, hold on, I gotta bring the standings up again. I was just looking at them. No, I mean, look, they're hot right now. I mean, I think Jim Montgomery's a great coach. They have a nice. I know it's only 4 points, but it's still a nice cushion over Calgary. Although Calgary does have 3 games in hand.
That's the big key.
So that could get kind of hairy, but I mean, they're in a good spot right now. Again, kind of like the Habs, just win 2 out of your next like every 3 games, and you'll be all right. You know what I mean? Like, I think they should make the playoffs. I think Jim Montgomery's a good enough coach to not let them slip up. But I mean, you never know.
It's possible. Like whether they make it is not in their hands with those 3 games in hand.
Right.
I didn't consider them before, but at least they have that cushion. And if Calgary happens to be on a dip, well then.
I think we're kind of both rooting for Calgary to dip because you have their first round.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that with Calgary real quick? This is the mid team of the West. This team should have gone full scale rebuild, and they just refused to do so. They're riding the high off of Dustin Wolf. This team can't fucking score goals, and they're deluding themselves.
Yeah.
And listen, I said it when it happened. That Frost and Farabee trade, they are going to regret this. I love Joel Farabee. I want to see that kid succeed so fucking bad because he is such an awesome dude, but he's not fitting. He has not been the player that everyone thought he was going to be. He's got like 30-something points in his last 100 games played. It's terrible. And, that since that trade they made, Calgary hasn't taken off like they thought they would. Like, right now, they're 4 points out of a playoff spot if you look at the big picture. Yes, they have 3 games in hand, but they have the least amount of goals scored in the league. They just can't score goals. And Dustin Wolf can only carry you so far.
And at this time of the year, where a lot of games you don't have to score a lot of goals because it's really tight, but still you're having trouble scoring. And with them not like doing a rebuild, which I think everybody kind of expected, right? And you're just going to keep finishing with a mid pick, and you're never
That's
really
what we
going
were
to
doing for
get
so long. That's why I'm so
Habs
thrilled
too.
we're finally at the bottom.
The Habs too. That's that, and you're just never going to get there. You can't do it anymore. I don't think like that.
No,
in the NHL.
It's rare. You need to have like a 2017 Dallas Stars type draft to make it work, where you hit like that for it to work. But I do want to correct myself, mind you. They're not dead last in the league in goals per game anymore. Now they're up to 30th. Congratulations, Flames.
Close enough.
Close enough. Point being.
Yeah.
But the issue is they don't have enough goal scoring prowess right now. Like, give me 1 sec. I want to pull up Calgary's stats real quick because I don't have them in front of me.
Isn't it here? They'll have some of that here. Oh, I don't have it. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me pull up their individual player stats right now. So Jonathan Huberdeau, the king of the overpay, who I will say is having a decent year this year, not an 11+ million per year type of year. But he's still on pace for over 60 points this year, which is good, but nowhere near what he's getting paid again.
No.
Kadri's another one that's overpaid. He's on pace for maybe like 59 points, something like that, 58. And then after that, they have no other forwards in their group right now that even have 40 points. Like, that tells you all you need to know. Mackenzie Weegar is a defenseman. He has 41 points. But no one else on that team has even 40 points.
Yeah. So even if they make the playoffs, they're not. That's like a one and done.
Yeah. They listen. Unless if Dustin Wolf has a 2011 Tim Thomas type run, they're not going anywhere. Even if they make
even
it.
at that, like
even at that, it's still a really big hill to climb for them.
I just don't understand why they made that trade at the time. And I heard Flame fans say, like, oh, this is Craig Conroy cooked here. This is a great trade. I'm like, listen, there is a reason why Danny Briere traded these two guys. There is a reason. And I again, Morgan Frost is the air model of inconsistency. And Joel Farabee, I heard people pumping up that 40-point run he had in 48 games. Well, it's been a lot longer of a run where he hasn't produced. And you're seeing it even in Calgary too. And Calgary, like I said last year, or early in the year, I picked them to be one of the worst teams in hockey. They should have sold off, got to the bottom, and built around it. Not only did they not do that, they don't have their first-round pick or their second-round pick this year.
Yeah, no, they're screwed. They're screwed.
What are they going to do? Just be mid and run Dustin Wolf into the ground?
Yeah, and that's a problem, right? So having Dustin Wolf doing what he's doing might not be the best thing for Calgary because it gave them the idea that, hey, maybe we can do it. And no.
And Dustin, listen, I will say if Dustin Wolf carries this team to the playoffs, and that's only if he does that, he would be my pick for the Calder because of how poor they've been offensively. But I don't know. I don't even think he could carry what they have right now. I think St. Louis is more likely to make it right now because at least they have prolific scorers on the offensive end and they have a goalie that's won before. No disrespect to Dustin Wolf. He's a fantastic goalie, but you can only carry a team so far.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't understand what Calgary is doing. I really don't.
You know who actually Calgary kind of reminds me of? I thought this for a while. They kind of remind me of the Flyers.
Yeah,
but a year behind us.
Flyers.
No, but like they just remind me of us, but a year behind us. It's like the Flyers.
More than that.
Like
it's
no one thought we could make the playoffs last year or even compete for a spot.
Oh, by that standard, yes.
Bottom five.
Right.
Like even me this year, I thought Calgary. At one point I put out a tweet early in this, like right before the season, saying I thought Calgary was gonna be the worst team in the league this year.
I was there with you. I had them as like a bottom 3 team.
And like the exact same thing that the people were saying about the Flyers like last year, and then we just ended up surprising a lot of it because Carter Hart was playing really well at the beginning of the season, but then we all know what happened there. But like so same thing, kind of like with Wolf, or Wolf is kind of carrying this team of like that should not be doing what they're doing, And and it's like almost like even like a couple years ago, like with like the late Johnny Gaudreau and like when with Kachuk and when they were having that great season, it kind of reminded me of like the 2020 team of the Flyers that was like, oh man, they're so good, they're gonna like, and then I don't know, it's just weird. It seems like they kind of reflect us, but like they're a year
Yeah.
behind us.
I
It's
still
really
stand
weird.
by to this day what could have been if COVID never happened, because that 2020 Flyers team was a fucking whacking.
But-
They were on a
But
roll.
what they're
Then
going
COVID happened.
what they're going through this year could be really detrimental to them
Yeah,
if
I
they
agree.
think, well, look where we were, we're close, but you're not
Yeah,
really. You're not really. The
Mm.
smart thing would have been to do a rebuild, but and look at with the Frost and Farabee trade. You thought, I'm sure they thought, change of scenery, going to be good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's been long enough that didn't work.
I will
look,
give Calgary one thing. Zane Pareka is the best defenseman prospect in hockey right now. That kid is a monster.
But
so they do have that going for them.
Isn't that a reason then to do a rebuild? Because
No,
now
I
you're
agree.
starting to get,
I
you want to get
absolutely
more
agree.
of those kids. Where they
I-
If only he was on a certain World Junior team, eh, Rick?
on a certain.
World Junior team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's one of the kids they left off. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you
If
going to do?
only.
Oh, shots fired. I see what you did there.
No shots fired.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably would have meddled if you had him on your team.
I will say
Probably
Calgary
right.
does still
You
have
know
two
what I like?
first-round picks this year, but they're late.
Not just him, though.
completely forgot about that. I did want to mention that. They
What?
have New Jersey and Florida's first-round pick this year, but they're late. It's not their own. They're going to be probably in the 20s somewhere.
Yeah, they're not. You got listen. If you're not going to get how do I put? If you're not making the playoffs and going to be good, you're better off to finish low like you guys and get a good pick. And they're just not going to do that. And the other first rounders they have, well, they don't have their own this year. We have it, but
Give me Anton Frundell. I want him, please. If not him, then trade. I mean, get to the top. But give me Anton Frundell, and I'll be a kid on Christmas morning.
well, you might finish. You might get the first. You might win the lottery.
That's the only way.
Well,
Listen, best case we get is third. I think realistically we could get fourth, but best case is third. But I think we'll be 4 or 5 or 6, something like that. But
Yeah, and hopefully then you don't drop back in the lottery. You got to hope the name's strong.
Don't put that evil on
the
me, Rick.
Penguins are going to win.
Well, that's what happens,
Oh my
right?
God, Norty! Don't you fucking put? No, they're gonna do it next year. That's what's gonna happen.
Probably. McKenna.
Edmonds gonna
Yeah.
make sure his toys out in Pittsburgh. Get Gavin McKenna, and then you'll see me on fucking watch for the next 5 years because I'm gonna cry.
Oh yeah. You know what's gonna happen? The Flyers somehow next year will finish dead last. Okay, and Pittsburgh will end up winning the lottery. I swear
I
to
will
God,
promise.
the city will burn. The
I
city
will
fucking
join
burn.
them. I'll drive to Philly and join the burn.
That
I
would
will
be-
cry.
It's the luck of the draw, boys.
But just anyone but Pittsburgh, please. They need to suffer for a little bit because they kicked our ass for 15 years. But
like
let's finish with one more team. I'd say Vancouver is still in this, so I think they deserve. I mean, technically Utah is too. If you want to talk about them,
Nah,
Yeah,
I don't
because-
know. I think they're both out though. I especially Vancouver. I just don't think they're gonna pull it together in time.
I do want to just mention about this with Vancouver. Is this team going to go into a full scale rebuild? Because now look at this.
They might.
JT Miller's gone. It still sounds like Elias Pettersson doesn't want to be there. Demko is becoming a health issue with how often this guy's hurt. And now, who was it that mentioned that Quinn Hughes, if they go into a rebuild, said that he would not
Their
want to be
GM.
part of it? It was a GM that said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Elias Pettersson leaves, Quinn Hughes might be following, and then Thatcher Demko can't stay healthy. So
No, because his knee, he's got a weird.
Yeah.
They can't repair the knee properly. There's nothing they can do. It's such a weird injury in a weird spot that they can't do anything. So
is
it can't be
Vancouver
surgically
heading for a
repaired.
rebuild after being as good as they were just a year
Yeah.
ago?
Everybody
Remember how
should.
much we were hyping them up last year in PAP episodes,
Yeah.
And now they can't get out of their own way, and everything's going wrong for them.
Everybody in Vancouver needs to be fired after all
Talk
this.
about a one-year wonder.
Right? Everybody's got to get fired over this because that's like
Disaster.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad it's not my team. That's all I can say.
I don't know. I don't know if Vancouver is gonna go into because, but Pedersen has been actually been playing better like of
He
late.
has.
So I don't know because it's weird also like even if they want to go into a rebuild, like let's say like we'll take Pedersen into if he's playing well, obviously you don't want to trade him and you don't want to rebuild because then he's your number one center.
You can't rebuild when you got him and Quinn Hughes there.
And if he's not, like let's say he doesn't turn it around and let's say like but then like he has no value and you trade him and what are you even gonna get for the rebuild?
And how do you trade him if he's not playing well with what is he getting paid? Isn't he getting paid a shit ton of money?
He's getting 11 point I want to say 11.6.
Yeah, if he's not playing well, then you got to trade him. You're not. How are you trading him?
But exactly. So I think they're
kind of retain
stuck.
a lot.
Yeah,
and Besser might be walking too. That's another thing.
Apparently. Yeah, this team it's a team that's screwed up. I think what you got to start with is management. You got to get rid of management and bring in new people because something happened and it was on their watch. They screwed up immensely.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't think they made the playoffs. I just wanted to bring them up a little bit because they are kind of close.
The reason being for me is mostly Demko can't stay healthy, and I don't think Lankinen can do the job to do that and to get them there. So,
who's their backup goalie?
Well, it's Lankinen and Demko, and then Seelovs.
Oh,
Arthur Seelovs.
He's struggling a bit this year too.
They're all struggling. Lankinen was doing okay, but I mean he's not that quality. And Demko, but he can't stay healthy, and his knee is screwed up. He's basically got something like Carey Price in the end there, and it's in a spot where they can't operate on it.
I feel for him. You don't want to wish an injury, especially at his age. He's not even that old.
No, for sure. But there's not much he can do. So, yeah, that team's in. So I don't think they make the playoffs. I don't think they.
I don't think so either. Realistically, I think it's between Calgary and St. Louis.
Yeah, but it's
Calgary.
A lot of injuries.
It's kind of Calgary on the outside looking in. I don't think anybody else. I mean, Utah. They're by numbers you could say they're still, but I don't know. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna do anything that's gonna leap them up there. So, yeah, more than likely you're looking at it's if Calgary can't take advantage of those 3 games in hand, then it's St. Louis and who else is there? I can't remember.
St. Louis and Calgary.
No, but those aren't. They're too wild. Here, I'm gonna.
Minnesota.
Well, St. Louis right now. St. Louis and Minnesota, the wild cards.
Okay. So it's just
I feel
Calgary.
We didn't talk about Minnesota at all.
We can do that. It's just Calgary.
Minnesota.
Looking in Minnesota's got didn't they have a problem? There's a player. Something happened with one of their big players. Am I wrong? I know Marco Rossi just came back from injury.
Yeah, Kaprizov's been on and off injuries all year. I know I have him in fantasy, and it sucks.
Does he even have 40 games played this year?
No, isn't Kaprizov out for the? He's done. No,
not for the season. He's coming back.
No, he might be back for playoffs.
Okay, because I had him.
He'll be back before the playoffs because they couldn't put his money on LTIR because they're expecting him back before.
Okay, I had
injuries though. It's not just Kaprizov. Eriksson Ek's out too.
Yeah.
I had that maybe that's it. Eriksson Ek. It was a little while ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought there was another guy just like last week or the week before. Something happened. No, it's not. That's not the name. Anyway,
Hartman was suspended for a while, but he's back now.
No, it's still not the name. So it must be. It must be from a while ago. Yeah, it's got to be that. Okay, and I don't know how long he's out for, but that's a big loss if he's not back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See with
Eriksson Ek. That's a big loss.
You're absolutely right there. I agree with that.
On the defensive side, that's a big loss. Good
I still
player.
think he's one of the most underrated centers in the league.
good
I mean, I really
player.
do.
I agree with that.
I've had
I
him
agree
in
with that.
fantasy for a few years. He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
good player to have. So
I mean, the damn guy's made out of titanium. He blocked 3 of Shea Weber's 100-mile-an-hour slap shots in a row.
that's right.
Ouchies.
I
He
remember
did.
watching that game too.
Oh
He
my
like went over
God.
the bench like on one leg, and all the guys had to like lift him over.
Oh my God. You thought that's it, his career is done, and he's not having kids.
Ouchies indeed. Never forget when a certain someone played through a ruptured testicle, Mr. Wheeler.
Yeah, that's don't even say that. That
true.
hurts.
Well, we were bringing that up.
Nut.
That
No
hurts.
pun intended.
I couldn't believe. Yeah, no pun intended.
No, like that's crazy though. Like if that happened to me, you'd have to airlift me off the. Like you'd have to open the roof of the arena and have the helicopter come down and pick me up off the ice.
If that
Right,
happened to
getting
me,
up
I
after
don't
that.
want to wake up. I want to stay in a coma.
If that happened to me, I'm staying there until you get the surgeon and do the operation here. I'm moving.
But anyway, looking at the Wild right now, I mean, first line of Boldy, Rossi, and Zuccarello. Zuccarello still playing well at his age. Is crazy to see. And that team's going to instantly get better when you insert Eriksson and Kaprizov back into that lineup. But right now, the second line shows us Johansson, Frederick Gaudreau, and Gustav Nyquist, who I don't know if any of those guys really fit as second liners. This feels like a one-line team right now.
Yep.
I want to say Nyquist is probably he's a capable guy.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's about it. So that's their second line, eh? So there's they're missing. I mean, they're missing Eriksson and
that's two massive pieces to that top six that they're missing for sure.
Okay, and
good draw. I mean, no one else on that team is even on pace for 40 points. It's just those top three that I mentioned that have been carrying the load. So
if Calgary goes on a run and wins those games in hand, although it's only one on Minnesota, but Minnesota,
I think
maybe is in
Minnesota
trouble.
They still got a big gap though.
Not that huge.
8 points.
Over what? Calgary?
Yeah, that's the first team out.
Oh, well, I thought I was looking at St. Louis with the 3 games.
And then you also got to take into effect they have the tiebreaker of regulation wins. So Calgary has to end ahead of them.
Yeah, so Minnesota's safe.
I don't see Minnesota fall. Like I said, Minnesota would have to go like 4-8 the rest of the way. Or 3-8-1 or some shit like that.
Yeah, which is unlikely. I mean, it is unlikely.
I don't know what their schedule consists of. I know we don't play them again, but
yeah, whatever. I mean, it's playoff hockey, so it doesn't really matter.
If they did make a run, I would like to see Flower get one last push for a cup. Marc-Andre Fleury is one of those guys that you just can't hate. And I was so happy when he finally left Pittsburgh because I hate the Penguins, obviously. So when he was going, I was like, oh, awesome, I can root for this guy now.
I'm not sure I see Minnesota doing well in the playoffs for some reason.
Well, here's something crazy.
Get over their injuries.
They only have 12 games left this year. They haven't played the New Jersey Devils yet.
They got 2 games left against the Devils.
Yeah, they have not played the New Jersey Devils the entire year. I just looked at their schedule. Oh, that's kind of weird. That they have their final 2 games against the Devils both their games against the Devils at this point of the year.
It's been a weird year for that too, I find.
This is why I made my gripe with the NHL scheduling format. It sucks.
Yeah. I wonder who they have doing that. Probably some kid in grade school.
That's about it for the West teams.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think there's any other teams to talk about. So, where are we going from here? I guess we wrap it up then. All right. So, that's all we got on the Western Conference. Let us know in the comment section, by the way, any thoughts you guys have on that. Let us know, who you think will come out of there and what you think about what we talked about here on the teams we talked about. So don't forget to do that. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. We definitely appreciate that. And leave us comments. Don't forget, I know I just said it, but leave us comments. We love to get comments, and we will answer you. On that, we'll be back next week. Don't know exactly what we're talking about because who knows what's going to happen in the NHL, because anything could happen, and we'll be talking about it next week. So look for that, and please join us. In the meantime, thanks for being here, and thanks for watching. We do appreciate it. And that's it for all the boys. Till next time, stay safe out there. Peace out, everybody, and have a great week. And we will be back next week. And Alex wants to say something.
I do?
Oh, I thought somebody.
Ciao.
Oh, he said ciao. All right. Ciao, everybody.
Ciao, buddy.